yesterday we created these visualizations and the few dashboards over here, like different charts.
Yeah.
The yesterday's primary agenda was to go through different options like the editing options, what we have,
Yeah.
whether it is
Okay.
formatting and analytics options for trend and all. So that is what we went through.
Mm.
Now today, generally, like what I was thinking of, to kind of go ahead and add filters and slicers and see that how exactly these things work. So
You told us that you'll be showing those tabs which we the above tabs, maybe the
the
insert or
transform
something.
and
Yeah.
basically
Or
these
maybe
things
we'll go
only.
with filters and slices today.
No, it's only 5 or 10 minutes discussion. Later on,
Fine.
we'll go ahead and start with this
Fine.
transform.
Fine.
So yesterday's has Rahmat came? Okay, not
Not yet.
yet. Okay, so as a part of yesterday's workbook, what we created here. Let me just go to all pages summary. Okay, in none of the sheets we added filters. As of now, the filters what we have seen, those filters are working on individual sheet level. The basically the chart level, I would say. So the what I mean is, let's say if you select a particular slice in a chart, accordingly the rest of the data gets filtered out. Correct. So that's what we used. I mean, I believe the filters are here, over here. You can see
Mhm.
filters on this visual. On this particular visual, the filters we are using, but for this particular page, we don't have any filters, right? So to just tell you, filters are going to be of three types over here, right? Three types of filters. One filter that will be one filter that will be applicable. Has Rahmat came? So okay.
Yes, sir.
Remat, we are just starting with the filters. So I was
Okay.
just talking about the type of filters over here, and as of now, let's say if I'm on this particular page, we don't see any filter over here, right?
Yes.
But as soon as you select a particular visual, then you see some of the filters.
Yes.
That right? That means actually there are three types of filters what you can apply over here. One filter is kind of starting from one particular visual, then another filter is kind of applicable within this page,
Yes.
right? Because see, the filters which is on individual visual, they will be everywhere in all the sheets automatically, like this, right? But the other two categories which are like filters on this page and filters on all
All
pages,
pages.
which means if you drag anything here, that will be applicable to all these four objects. But in case you add anything here and you filter out, or maybe you select or deselect anything, that will impact all of your pages.
Hmm. Yes, sir. All pages filters.
Yeah, correct. So these are the different type of filters. What I'll do, because we have connected to, I think, orders only. So what I'll do, let me drag maybe, let's say, state. I'll drag state on this particular page and we'll add, let's say, segment onto all pages, and then one more filter, maybe category into all the pages. So there are two filters which I have added there. Now let's look at some other formatting options. So when we say formatting options, basically, let's say this is state. On state filter, right? As of now, you have option to kind of select all the values or any single value, any specific value which you want, But with that, right, if you want, you kind of force it that user cannot select multiple values. So because state has a lot of values, I will not do it. What I'll do, I'll go to category or subcategory, because here we have very less values, like subcategory, sorry, category. This segment, this is category. Okay. Over here, I will do require single selection, which means, let's say, if you go for single selection, you can select one segment at a time. You cannot select multiples. Only one segment will be allowed, right? So that's what I have done this here. Apart from this, like single selection or multiple selection, there are few more things which we can talk about. So for example, if you see on these filter types right now, I mean by default, you can see basic filtering. But as soon as you kind of click over this, you get some other options like advanced filtering. And in case you select it, then you will see you have options like contains, like wildcard. So at the place of putting the exact value, you can just give some wildcard or maybe some text. So like in SQL, it works as like, there is a like statement or like keyword in SQL. You can write that in queries, and accordingly you can get your data filtered. So in the same way, this works in Excel also. Contains, does not contain, starts with, all these options you see in Excel filters as well. So these are the same options. They'll work as soon as you turn this into advanced filtering. Now with that, let's say there are two conditions. You want to see contains, let's say, right, MIS, Missouri, like there are few states, maybe let's say Georgia. I'll give these two letters over here, or I'll give again contains, and over here I can give, let's say, California, something like that. Okay, but we are in category. No, 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 no. In category, let's say office, category, copiers. Okay, and then uh, or copiers, and then we can give, let's say, it's a category. There would be only three fields. What fields we have? We have furniture, office supplies, and technology. Only these three values are there. Out of this, we need to kind of give the wildcard. Let's not do it here. I'll select the wildcard over here. You're understanding, right, why I'm doing it? Actually, there are only three values.
Yeah,
Out of these, right, uh, I can do wildcard here also. That's not a challenge. But I want to kind of
but
give,
only three, right?
yeah, that's what. I want to see
Okay.
more options. That's why.
Yeah.
So let's say over here, my Georgia and all these things will work. I'll say and contains, or let's say California, right? So let's see. We'll say apply filters. So what will happen this time? You will get only those states wherein you have GE in their name, or CA. So at this time I said contains. That doesn't mean the name is starting with GA or ending with GA, or it is coming in middle. In the state name, anywhere if you it will find GE together or CA together, it will filter out those states. So I'm not sure whether we have any visual with state names. Okay, so over here if you see, it's California, this one is Nevada, but this is not part of our filter criteria. Okay, the reason being, the state filter is only on that particular page. If I put this filter on all the pages, then definitely it will work, because I'm looking at, let's do one thing. I'll add one more filter over here, sorry, one more control over here. Okay, and I will add state names. Okay, now if you see, because of that filter, you are getting only 4 states: North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and California. In case you change that filtering option, this one, you put something else and apply filter, accordingly these values are going to change, right? So that's how your advanced filtering and this thing will work, right? But do you get the same options if you drag any measure? Right now it's your dimension, correct? If let's say if you add any measure over here, how would it happen? I mean, what values you will get? So let me drag sales also here, sum of sales, and let me remove this filter. Okay, now if I need to drag one sales measure also as a filter over here, so what happens in case of sales? In basic filtering, you are getting all individual values which were there in the sales field. Sorry. Hmm. In case of basic filtering, you are getting all the individual values which were there in the sales field. But if you just convert this into advanced filtering, so you are getting less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, like these are the same options what you used to get in Excel. So these options are by default there. So okay,
So for numbers and all, we'll get like these, and for
dimensions you will get the
yeah,
other one.
yeah, okay,
Okay,
okay.
so I
This
mean
is
it,
fact, right?
yes, it's a kind of fact
Okay,
you can say, or measure, yeah, but the
okay.
same thing. So the filters will change accordingly. Now whenever you kind of do all these changes, you need to kind of apply the filter so that you'll see those values, right? Now let's say there are a number of filters you added on the visuals but you don't want to show them. You added it but you don't want to show them to the user. So what you can do is, you see this eye icon over here, you can simply click on it and this filter will not appear to the user, right? So as soon as you publish it, you can see uh, I think sales is twice on this visual. Okay, that's on visual. So user will be able to see these two filters, sales and state, on this particular visual. They will not see the sales visual on the page, but they can see another filter which is there on all pages, which is category and segment, right? Another thing, if I go back to other tabs, forecasting and trend, so over here you'll see, like, see, filters on all pages. Though I dragged category and segment only in this particular tab, it will appear everywhere because the scope for these two filters is all pages. You go to any page, you will see these filters, right?
So
But
how does a stakeholder, I mean, filter it if they see it, or
can you repeat your question?
if a stakeholder see the
Hmm.
filter, like how will the view will be for them, and how do they filter it actually?
Okay, let's do it. Let's publish it, and we'll see directly.
Okay.
So they get this filter pane as it is.
Okay.
We'll
Okay.
show you as soon as it comes. So you see here, it's a filter
Okay.
page,
Okay.
and from here you can select your values.
Okay.
Same goes with segment. Like these filters are applicable for all pages, so that's why you see it here. If you go to, let's say, forecast and trend, over here again, like category,
Okay.
and let's say if you go to funnel and scatter plot, there were few filters which we added only on that page particularly, like state. So this state you will not find any other place. You still get these options, user gets these options, so you can change or deselect and play with your objects.
Okay.
Correct? Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Now there is one more control which is very similar to this filter, right? That control is very similar to this filter, and that control is known as slicer. Have you used slicer earlier?
No.
Okay. See, slicer concept is in Excel also, and over here also it will behave in the same way. So I'll just try to minimize it. Okay, we'll drag our slicer in this particular portion, and over here, see, over here you see the filters, like you are getting all individual values and you can select and you can see the data, correct? That's a behavior of filter. So don't get confused with slicers. I'll show you that what happens in slicers. I'll say segment. Okay, segment is already there. Category is already there. Let's add shift mode. Okay, so if you see here, you get all your values. Let me just increase the font and all for this so that it's visible properly. So items, text size. Okay, so now if you see, if I select first class, you're going to get data only for first class. If it is same day, you are going to get data for same day. If it is say second class or third class, correct? It's not impacting any of other visuals yet, but you are able to kind of filter out your data within here. Whichever you select, you get that data. Right?
Does it apply for the whole page or only one particular chart?
No, it's for whole page. This complete page right now.
Okay, then, but we can use it for filter itself. Like, then what is the difference between both?
Yes, that's the question. Right?
Yeah.
So there are two things. One is like in filters, you can always show any filter in this filter pane. Correct? There is very less customization option, and like most of the things will be like fields or sorry list what you get over here. In case you don't want to show it, you can collapse it. That's fine. That's a feature what filter pane has. But in case of slicer, as of now, we are looking at a very basic slicer, which shows you in terms of a control on object in this particular view. Now there are a lot of customization options available with this slicer. That option is like, let's say if I select first of all and then I'll go to properties. See, in general you have color, vertical, height, width and all that, right? That's very basic. If you go further over here, like selection controls, as of now I can select only one control, one or single value at a time. You have option to kind of provide multiple selection, right? uh, Actually it's not selecting multiple things right now, but let's say if I say single selection on, Now it got converted into radio buttons. What happened? Earlier also it was only single selection. Right. Okay. I'll just look into it. Oh, okay. Got it. So basically, uh, as soon as you convert this into single selection, you are getting this options are getting converted into radio button. So you will be allowed to select only one value at a time. But in the before, like when it was disabled, the condition like this, you have multiple selection enabled here, but there are few limitations. I would say, like in Power BI, there are few controls which works with control in Power BI desktop. As soon as you publish it into Power BI web service, then it will be fine, right? What I mean is, over here, if you want to select multiple values, you need to press control and then you can select these values, multiple values. But in Power BI, Power BI web service, as soon as you publish it, then you will be able to kind of do it using mouse only, and you can select multiple values. But in Power BI desktop, if you are there, you need to kind of hold the control button and then only you can select multiple values, right? So that is one kind of difference or discrepancy what is there. You can call it limitation or whatever you call it, but yes, with control it will operate. So over here, like single selection, as soon as you enable it, it will get converted into radio buttons. Then other option, like as soon as you go down, slicer header, if you wish, you can show this ship mode over here. If you don't want, you can hide it, not required, correct? If you hide it, if you show it, then required formatting will come in picture, like what font color you want, what is the background you want, what is the outline, font size, and all that you want, right? If you disable it, nothing is required here. You're good to go. Then items. So over here, items, basically the value is what you see, like first class, second class, or maybe standard, same day. So you can again select those individual items and format those. So it's again common. I'll just collapse it. Will not go through it. Title, it's again off. No, not worried about it. Basically, there was one more option. In general, okay. In general only, if you see, there is a orientation option. It says vertical, right? Vertical means you are getting all your individual values like this, and you can select. As soon as you select horizontal, let's see what happens. See, you're getting 4 blocks there. It's a kind of a new view, and you can select your particular option. So the view got changed. Now the best part is, like, you can put it into your visual also. Let's say it's 2 lines. I can do it in 1 line. It is responsive, so automatically convert all the means options into a square or maybe in 1 line. Same thing goes here. If let's say multi-selection is on, using control you can select multiple values. If multi-selection is not on, then one value at a time, and it gives you a better view so that you can kind of filter out the objects from your different charts, right? Now another thing, it's my slicer over here. Let's say if you want to see like whatever you select over here, is it going to appear on other sheets or not? For that, you can simply go to view option, and over here you can see sync slicers. That's the option what is given for slicers only. It's not for filters, it's only for slicer. If you select this, right, then it will ask you the options, like what all sheets you want it to be applicable, right? As of now, there are 2 options actually. You see, there is a refresh sign, sync sign, and then there is one sign with eye icon. Right now, at this time, it is visible only in funnels and scatter plot. I think scatter spelling is wrong. So it's visible only on this tab. As soon as you select these options, right, it is going to be visible on other sheets as well. Let's see. If I go to summary, see it came here. As soon as I selected, it came here also, or it came here also. As soon as I selected that sync slicer option, clicked on this eye icon, so it is visible on all the sheets. With that, this option is sync, that says where you want it to be applicable, right? Like filters. In filters, you had option to kind of select and apply. So in the same way, you can just select these sheets. So what it says, add a copy of the slicer to the page and sync it. If slicer with the same field already exists, it will be synced. So let's say if that field is not here, right? For example, in segment you see consumer at this time, consumer, and the number is 2,31,000. I'll go here and kind of change it standard 7,10,000. So which means we are not showing our slicer here, but still because I have selected it, it is working there. You're getting this option? You have option to show or not to show. With that, you can make the impact of slicer on different sheets or not. Both options are there. Correct?
Yeah, okay.
Right. With
Uh,
that, yeah, please go ahead. It seems you had some question, but okay. So that's another advantage of slicer. Now slicers are not limited to a visual, whereas in filter you saw like those are limited to a visual also, like limited to a visual, limited to a page, or for all pages. Over here with slicers, you don't have that option, like you can limit your slicer to a particular visual. What you can do is you can make it for a page, or you can make it for selected pages. Correct? In filters, there is one limitation what you might have noticed uh, over here. In filters, it is for one visual, it is for a particular page, or it is for all the pages. You don't have option that you want, okay, this filter should work on 3 pages, not on 4 pages. So that option is not there. If you want like it should work on 3 pages, you need to drag this on all those 3 pages, then only it will work. Either you can apply it on all pages or on a particular page. You don't have any option in between. So that's a limitation with filter, and that is the advantage with slicers. Okay. Apart from this, slicers will be kind of controllable using DAX also. So you will be able to kind of select values or whatever values you kind of select. Let's say you selected 2 values. So in DAX, you will be able to read that how many values you have selected, and accordingly you can type your you can maintain your conditions also. So that is what we will cover once we kind of look into the slicer, sorry, DAX, and we can talk about that there. Right? Any questions as of now on slicer and filters?
yeah, in that filter pane, you told that we can hide that filter so that no one can see those filters like that. No, so
Mhm.
if that will happen when we publish to the Power BI service, then there they will hide, or in the Power BI desktop itself they will hide the filter pane like that.
Okay, so this one is kind of filter on this particular page, and we have set ask to hide. Correct? Let me
Yeah.
just publish this, and this is on funnel and scatter plot. right? This was your sales filter. So over here, if you see, you got ship mode, sales filter is kind of hidden, and then you are getting other two filters, which are segment and category. So over here, state filter is there, category and segment is there, that sales filter is not there, right? That is hidden. If you want to see that, you need to download this workbook and then you can see it, right?
Yeah, okay.
Right. And these are the slicers, so they will work as it is. Okay, right, fair enough. So let me just go back. Okay, now I think slicers and filters, there is one more concept called parameters. So I'll connect, I'll kind of cover it once we are at data modeling tab, right? So as of now, this was our tab, orders. We'll go ahead and kind of click on modeling, or maybe like home and then transform data, right? Over here within the transform tab, let's work on the small chunk first of all. Okay, fine. Let's start by going through these different options over here. See, the good thing, whatever we will be doing here, Power BI records each and every step. So anytime if you want to revert that or you want to go back to that option, you can go back. When I say record, basically if you see here applied steps, so all the steps will be shown here, whatever you are doing in your data or within your data. Let's say if you are trying to add any column over here in the data. So what Power BI does, let's say if you are trying to add column, correct? In case you add column, Power BI automatically adds that column into the data set, which means let's say you wrote a condition and then you are adding a column. So just after adding that column, you can remove the dependent column. The new column which you created, that will not go, though you used a condition, but as soon as it gets added, it gets added into data, which means as many columns you will add, right? Maybe calculated columns in the data, the size of data increases because it gets physically added into the data set. So that is what you need to be aware of. That doesn't happen with the measures. In case of measure, actually it is just the calculation based, right? So that will be a logical calculation. But in case of column, it's physically going to be added into your data, right? So we'll talk about those concepts. Over here, see, if you start going through one by one option over here within this data pane or data tab. So first of all, like new sources, you can get your data from different sources. That's what we discussed earlier also. Recent data sources, what you have connected recently. Then enter data is a kind of feature which generally doesn't, which is not there in Tableau itself, right? There are other tools like Alteryx and all, those are ETL tools, but this option is there. This enter data allows you to kind of create your data right here. What I mean, if you click on enter data, the another table gets added, right? Create table option. You can give the name of this table. So maybe let's say you can give a name to this as dummy table. And you can add your values. For example, I would like serial number to be here. Then I would like maybe name column to be there, right? So you can add your data manually. You can give any name over here, any values over here, as many rows and column you want to add. If let's say you don't want to kind of add manually, what you can do is go to Excel sheet. If you have any data which you want to kind of create a data file here, let's say elimination, what data we have. Okay, so let's say if you want to kind of add this data there, just simply select it, go there, right, and copy paste. Fine, your data is ready. Without connecting to any source, you can simply create that table. So you'll see that table is here now, and this is your data related to that table, right? So is it a, this is again a very good feature, I would say, which is there in Power BI. And likewise, other tables what you kind of connected to Excel or maybe SQL you got, you were able to kind of do all the analysis in the same way. Using this dummy table, you can create your relationships, do further analysis and changes into this particular field. So it will behave similarly as other tables. So there is no difference or no kind of challenges while handling your data. But that's a good by, like, you can create your own table. Now the third option is data source settings. So let's see what it is. Okay, so it says the file which you connected to, it's talking about that, the permission, global permission, who all can access it. So all these options are there. Over here, edit permission, privacy level, public, organizational, and private. So according to these conditions, like this is basically the scope what you have set, that is it public or a proprietary kind of connection. So accordingly, I mean, in Power BI desktop that this doesn't matter, but as soon as you publish it into Power BI web service, then it does matter. Change clear permission and all. So these options are there. You won't find much use of it because it is mostly the admin work, and generally the roles and permissions, high level permissions, are created by admins. As a developer, you can just only select those, and according whatever you selection you make, accordingly the required people will be able to see it or access it. Anybody out of those scope, that scope, which scope I'm talking about, the scope like organizational, let's say you selected organizational, so only the people who have as part of that organization can see it, correct? But admin can create further groups also here. So if you, let's say, select a particular group, only people who are part of that group can see it. Other people, even within, even it is within the organization, other people will not be able to see it, right? So this is mostly adding groups and all is kind of admin work. But of course, as a developer, you need to define over the objects that which you want other people to see and what you don't want other people to see. So we'll just cancel it for a moment. We'll go ahead, manage parameters. So that is what basically I wanted to talk about. Likewise, filter and slices. The parameter is also a good component which helps developers. Yes, only developers. It is not for the users. So what I mean is, let's say in the ordered data, I'll apply one parameter, correct? So let's say, what field should I use? Segment, country, region, city, customer name. Okay, let's region field. Okay, I'll apply this parameter on this particular region field. So see, the idea behind is like this is also works as a filter only, but this is for only for developers in Power BI desktop. It doesn't work on your Power BI web service. And another thing is like it, you need to set up it on data source level or on the data level. So what I'll do now, I'll just go here. We'll say manage parameter, or let's say click on new parameter first. So as soon as you do it, you get this particular page. Over here, you can define your name of parameter. You can put the description. Type, because I'm going to put it on region field, I'll select it as string or text. You have all the data types which you can choose depending on the data type or the values, whether it's a date, decimal field, integer, right? So right now I'm taking as text because region is a string field. And then suggested values, it says any value, list of values, queries. If let's say if I do list of values, I need to enter the values over here. It can be west, can be east, can be south, because these are the values in my region fields, or it can be north. You need to select a default value, that which value you want to take as a default. Maybe I can take a west region as a default value. And then current value, I'll take this also as west. You can take any other also if you wish, but I'm taking it as west. We'll say okay. So your parameter is created, fine. But is it going to work on your data? Any thoughts? Parameter is ready, but is it going to work on your data?
No, I think we need to map these two columns, it seems, because they don't have any relationship between these two columns. Maybe, I'm
Correct.
not sure.
No, correct. You are 100% right. Until unless you won't create any relationship between this parameter and your data where you want it to operate, right? You have 4 tables. How would a parameter know that it needs to work on orders? Correct? It's a simple parameter. It can be used anywhere. You can use one parameter in all the data sets, right? The only thing is there has to be a proper mapping. And how would you come across the mapping? Before I go to the mapping, let's see that what is there in the manage parameter. You'll get the same window which you got at the time of creation of the parameters in manage parameters. Over here, you will get the list of all the parameters. You can see like one parameter is already there and these are the related properties. You can add a new parameter by clicking on this new sign. Correct? So these things, these options you get on the manage parameter. So I'll close it for now and we'll go to orders. Over here, because I need to make a relationship between my parameter and the region field, because for region field I created it. You can use the same parameter in multiple fields, multiple data sources, but main thing which is required is the relationship, valid relationship. If let's say you created it on postal code, but if the values which you have defined in parameter region are not related to postal code, it will not filter or it will not control, there will not be any impact. So you need to use it in a field which has the appropriate values, right? Required values. So what I'll do, I'll just go to region and then try to kind of map this parameter. How can you add this parameter into region field? Okay, you need to go to filter option, right? Because it's a filter only, so I'll just go to this and we'll say, let's say equal. I clicked on equal and over there you are getting these different options. Same options the way you used to get in the filters, like basic or advanced. Basic filter, advanced filter. Basic filter simply says equal to, you can define your value, or you can define your value and you are done, right? You have other options also which you can choose any of these, but in case you go with advanced, see, you are getting, you can add multiple things. In basic you can add only 2 things. In advanced you can add as many rules you want, right? So these features are there. You can add as many clauses you want. See, number of features you can, number of filters, rules you can add into advanced. In basic you have by default only 2 options, and what I'll do now, I'll just say equal to, and over here the ABC place which you get, if you click click on it, you get several other options like text, parameter, or you can create new parameter from here also. So if you click on new parameter, you'll get the same window, but right now I am not doing it, so that's fine. I'll select existing parameters, and it will give me the list of all the parameters which I have. So right now I have param underscore region, what I created. Okay, spelling of region is wrong, but that's what we have selected here. And I'll just click OK after this. So on this region field, because the default value, I think it was south. So the default filter which has worked, it is related to south value. Only the south data is selected. Correct? Now, if you go to your visual, let's say close and apply, go to your visual that's here, right? Everything will be shown only for south region. All the charts, all the visuals, all the pages, all the tabs, they will appear only for south region. Go to any tab. See, even the map, it shows data related to south region only. It's not showing the entire US. Only south region and states like Virginia, Kentucky, Louisiana, Georgia, Mississippi, all those states in the South US, right? As a user, I mean, as a user, definitely you don't have any option as a user, but as a developer in Power BI Desktop, you do have option. You can go to, I think, modeling tab, and from here, just click on, it's a new parameter it gives. I think we need to refresh it. Refresh. I hope it is refresh everything. Now, if you go to kind of modeling tab, then okay, you are still getting this new parameter option only. Why is that? Okay, I think it's dummy table which is selected. My parameter was implemented on orders. So let me select this orders here, and I'll go back to modeling tab once again. Okay, no. Okay, under transform, you are getting that option, not in modeling tab. Basically, it gives you only to create new parameter option. Under transform, if you right click, then you are getting this edit parameter option now. Earlier it was disabled, correct? So from this edit parameter, you can just click on it. Right now it is south. You can select some other value, for example, west, and you can say okay. So all the data in all the tabs, sheets, wherever you are using this orders to as a data source, the data will get filtered out for the new value what you have selected, right? So generally, as a developer, this will help you to test your data. This is not for the end users, because you cannot, I mean, you can deploy this, but it will not appear there for end users. But as a developer, you can kind of change these values and test your data. West is there. Now if you select east, you'll get accordingly the new values. Right? Any question in implementation of parameter?
No.
Okay, fine. Somebody dropped. Okay, Avinash. Fine. So having said that, after parameter, let's go ahead and talk about the other option, the next option what we had there. So I'll just go back to transform data. And over here, after manage parameters, you have like refresh view. So it's as it sounds, you can simply refresh this data depending on new parameter, new filters and all. Then you have properties, nothing much over here. Advanced editor, this is going to show you the Power Query actually, right? So when you kind of connected your data with your Excel file, what is the query which Power BI has generated for you automatically? So over here, if you see, like these are the values which it is kind of passing, and in filters row. So if you see the values, basically, let me just talk about that. Your source is excel.workbook, and this is the location of your file. You're connecting to this file at this time. The name of sheet is orders 2, right? And then you got all the fields. So if you scroll, starting from this row ID, order ID, date, ship date, all these fields with their actual data type, right? Whether it is text, I mean, right now I can see all the text. Over here it is integer, then again text. This is again integer type 64. So all the fields with their actual data type will be shown here, right? Now, as soon as we added one parameter, so if you see in this line over here, it says filtered rows table.selection change type, each region is equal to parameter region. So this is the name of parameter what it got added into the query itself. So now whatever data you see, that will be filtered for this parameter region. If you remove it from here, that parameter relation what we created, that will no longer valid. Are you getting this?
Yeah.
Right, so you can I mean, it's not that user friendly, frankly speaking, because it's a query over here. Everybody cannot go ahead and change anytime, but if you know it, if you understand it well, you can definitely control your data set from this particular tab or this particular option, advanced editor. So I'll just say okay, and then there is a option called manage. Under manage, nothing much is there, like delete, duplicate, reference. All these things are there. Create a new query that references this query. So I will not go through all these options because these are least used, right? Choose columns. So over here, whatever column you choose, you will nothing much is there. I mean, not much use of it. Whatever column you choose, you will kind of get navigated to that particular column. So from here, let's say you select only, let's say 2-3 columns. In your data, you will show only those 2-3 columns, right? Now only these columns are visible, whatever I selected.
This will not impact the visuals unless we close and apply, right?
Correct, it will not. As soon as you kind of close and apply, definitely these columns will not appear in the data sets and visuals might fail.
Okay.
Okay, so let me just select everything over here. And we'll say okay. The last option which we saw here, like go to column, as I said, nothing much. You can just select customer ID or ship mode, whatever column you select, you will go to that particular column. It will navigate you to that particular column. So I selected city. Now I'm at city. It's for just navigation purpose, right? But the good thing is, like, you can see all your column list over here. So you know like what all fields you got in your data. You can sort it by name, by natural order. What is this natural order? Any idea about natural order?
No. No, don't have.
Okay. See,
Is it the default order something?
actually the default order. When we say natural order, the order in which these fields are there in your data set, in the actual
Okay.
source. So that's default order or natural order. Now I'll go to some other option. So choose columns we done, remove column as it sounds. In order to remove columns, we'll not do it at this moment. We'll say keep rows, right? Now this is for filtering your data. It's a kind of filter only. So let's say if you say keep top rows, it will ask when you say top, how many rows? Let's say if you say 100, it is going to keep 100 rows and other rows will not be visible to everyone. See, only 100 rows in the data, right? As soon as I did it, you will see there is one step got added here. Removed other columns, sorry, kept first rows, kept first 100 rows. If you delete it, you will again get all your rows. Right? Same goes with keep bottom rows. So how many rows from bottom you want to keep? The other option will be keep range of rows, which means from beginning till the end, how many rows, I mean from beginning, where you want to start from and how many rows you want. So let's say if you put 20, it will start from row ID 20. See, row ID I'm talking because at this moment, your data has row ID to tell you that which row you are at, correct? But in case, let's say your row ID is in descending order, then row ID will not be accurate for you. When I say accurate, basically, if your data is in descending order and you are typing 20 here, it will see, from bottom, it will see the 20th record. And from there, it will start to show that. So I'll say first 20 rows, first row will be my 20th row. And from there, I want maybe 300 record. So it is going to show me 300 record only, but it will start counting them from 20th row. It will skip the first 10 rows. First 20 rows, sorry, 19 rows. So see, like row IDs, again, as I said, it will not show you the data accordingly, but you are getting only 300 rows at this moment. I'll remove this also. I have not used removed other column, filter rows, fine. Keep rows, keep duplicates, keep errors. So all these filters you can apply. Keep duplicates means it will not create duplicate for you, for example, right? It will show only the duplicate records if there is any in your data, right? Now duplicate this duplicate is basically for the entire row. It's not by values or by fields. There would be one option we'll be exploring wherein we can see duplicate basis which field you want to find. So we'll talk about that as we go. Now remove rows, right? Remove top rows, remove bottom rows, remove alternate rows, remove duplicate rows. I think, yeah, this is the field only, remove duplicate, what I was talking about. So over here, right, it will check all the conditions. Okay, it has removed, I think 108 rows. Let me see. Yeah, so not sure if it has duplicate fields, but it has removed some of the fields. Let me just go ahead, go there again. Remove duplicate. Okay. Got it. See, the reason being our city field was selected. That's why basis that field, it has removed the duplicate records. You getting this point? If you don't select any particular column, it will kind of then ask that basis which field you want to kind of remove the duplicates. So now if I do remove duplicate, okay, see what it has done. Because country and region was selected, it has kept only one row and removed everything. right? Row ID, because it has all the unique values, it has not deleted anything. You can still see 21 column and 999 plus rows.
But I don't think these the remove dupes, right?
Your voice was breaking. Can you please repeat?
No, like in real time,
Mhm.
these remove duplicates or some those things will not be used much, I think,
Yeah,
because there might
uh,
be multiple data, right?
no, that is correct. See, I would say hardly, like you'll come across 5 to 10% scenarios wherein you need to use it, right?
Mm-hmm.
99% of the time 95 or 90% of the time you will not be using it. See, generally what happens in real projects, the data is handled by ETL team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They will provide you the connectivity with your data, and then you can kind of go and do the visualization. So you don't have any rights to kind of manipulate data. All the data will be managed by them, right? So in those scenarios, definitely you are not going to use any of these options. But the scenarios, like let's say you are doing some statistical analysis, or maybe the people who are working on machine learning and all, right? They kind of need to create sample data first of all, right? Any machine learning project or analytics project is never done on the whole population,
Mm-hmm.
right? They cannot connect to the Oracle database or SQL database and do the machine learning from there. No. The very first step for them is to kind of create a sample data. So let's say in your database, let's say you have, let's say 1,000 records. So what they will do, they will create around maybe 200 or maybe 500 records as a subset, and then do the analysis on top of that. Because
Okay.
in machine learning, what happens, you create multiple sets. One is your training set, right? Because first of all, you will create your model using some sample data set, and then you will train your model using the remaining data set. So you cannot create, or you cannot do your analysis on the whole data set as a in one go. But for BI projects and reporting projects, you will not delete all these things, and you will be kind of working on the data provided by ETL team,
Okay.
right? But it's good to know that what options are there, right? So yeah, as you go further, you are kind of getting this sorting options as simple as this. The split field, I don't know whether I have shown it earlier, but it's as simple as it sounds. You can split that column by delimiter, number of character, position, lowercase, uppercase, all these things. So for example, this field, it is a combination of your country, year, and some order ID, maybe order ID. So you can,
Yeah, you have showed that one already.
right. So you can split this field into like three fields using delimiter. But if you want to kind of use anything else, for example, positions, right? So let's see what happens in positions. Okay. So it is asking the number of characters, maybe the positions through which you want to split this, right? So let's say US hyphen then 2017, total character 6. Let's say you want to split it by, let's say 0, comma 6. But let's see what happens. Okay. So see, it has splitted that field from the 6th character only. I may not need it. I actually wanted to do it by, okay, I'll go here, split by positions. Let me do it 0, comma 7. So that year and country combination will be in one field. I want to split this one, not a row ID, by position 0, comma 7. Okay. So you can see it. The country and year is coming in one format and remaining values are in another column. So you can use it if required. Then you have group by. What is this group by? Or is it going to summarize our data here only? Okay.
Actually,
For
there
example,
we can, okay. Actually, we can group data by first class, second class, third class, like that. If we select a group by, and if we select a particular column or thing, and the data will be grouped and summarized by that particular parameter.
right. Okay. So let's see that. So over here, because in this particular field I have, if you follow these rows, these are the common rows actually. From here till here, right? Let's use some field wherein we can show it better. Maybe ship mode or segment. So let's say if I select ship mode and then we'll say group by. So ship mode, what I want to kind of create the count, or maybe you can have some average, median, or anything that for which column you want. So maybe let's say count of rows you have selected, then you are getting these many columns. If it is, let's say, average, you are getting these many columns, like all the columns are there generally. If it is sum, let's say if I do sales ship by ship mode, see, you are in basic mode, that's why you are getting it like this. If you go to advanced, you can add more groupings. So groupings can be done on row ID, it can done it on segment, you can do the grouping basis your maybe let's say subcategory. So 3 grouping levels I have added. And similarly aggregation, first one was total sales. You can give
Is
another
it like
name.
one go in one group by itself we'll do multiple operations? Is it like that?
Not multiple operation. You are doing only one operation, that is kind of aggregation. Sorry, summarization, right? It's summarizing your
Uh,
data.
yeah, one operation on one column, right?
One operation on one column. Yes, that's true. So if you select the basic one, you got only one aggregation level and one measure there. In advance, you can have multiple aggregation levels and multiple
Okay,
measures.
okay. Uh, this will show separate columns or how it is?
It is going to show you separate view. So as soon as you kind of do it, see over here, it has created another view which has only these fields what I selected, like ship mode, segment, subcategory, and then you got total sales, total profit, and category, right? Only those columns which I selected under order
Okay.
to.
Okay, what is the difference between like adding a column and this one then grouping by?
Adding a column, you can add column on any business logic basis, right? You can split one column. See, right now what we are doing over here, everything is kind of within the same data. We are trying to kind of transform it, give a different look. Adding a column, you can add column on basis some other logic also, right? Maybe some conditional formatting, maybe some condition, right? That we are not doing right now. We are
Okay,
currently kind of just summarizing the current fields. It's not adding the fields which you see here, right? It's not added into our data set. It's just a view what it has created,
okay.
right?
So based
So
on the fields
mhm,
which we have,
mhm,
using those fields we are creating. So
correct.
yeah, okay.
We have not added anything new over here. So okay, it says my total category got failed. Now let's see that why it failed. I'm not sure whether it will show you that error. Okay, it says expression error. We cannot apply operator to type text and text. Details operator this, left furniture, right furniture. Okay, so basically, you know, the problem which happened with what's field I selected, total category.
Okay, we have category furniture sales only,
Okay,
right?
okay, okay.
Furniture.
I wanted to take quantity, not category. Yes, now it will be correct. Okay, so now you can see your quantities are here. You can see the data related to quantity. So yes, because it is a current view, you are getting only 6 or 7 fields over here. In case you don't want it, you want to go back, you can always kind of, you know, follow these routes and get to your actual or original data. Right? Okay, then let's say after group by you have data type any. So let's say this field, that's a row ID. Let's not do that. Quantity, this one, quantity field, it's an integer right now, discrete integer. Correct? It says whole number. Let's say you want to change the data type. You have these many options. You can change it, right? But that doesn't mean that you can change it in any of these. As soon as you select that option, Power BI will check the compatibility, whether it can convert it into a selected one or not. If not, it will give error. If it can, it will convert that, right? For example, it's a whole number right now. I can convert that into decimal. It will not have any issue. It has just converted. Now you are getting 1.2 over here. Earlier it was 123. Correct? So it has converted that. If I go ahead and select maybe, let's say, date time, let's see what happens. See, it gave me the pop-up. It says the selected column has an existing type conversion. Would you like to replace the existing conversion or preserve the existing conversion and add a new conversion as a separate step? Right? So what this will do, basically, it will add another column with the new data type. You have replace or you have add new step, let's say. So it has converted those numbers into date, right? Because it was just 5, 6, 7, I mean, the one number was there. It has given the default date type, that is 1900. So it has converted it, but you also know it, or I also know it, because this is of no use. This date is of no use. Correct? The dates which you see here, is it of any use?
No, no.
Right? It is just the data type or the format has been converted, but the values are useless for us. So I'll just go ahead and maybe select some other data type. For example, let me just cancel this first of all. We'll keep selecting the quantity. We'll select maybe, let's say, text. Text it will convert easily. It has converted that. The problem will happen, let's say it's a text field and you want to convert that into whole number or any number, then there would be a problem. So replace current. Let's say this one is a text field. And if I try to change this into numbers, let's see what happens. See, it gave the error, right? So this is what Power BI will automatically check. If it is compatible, it will do that. If it's not compatible, it will not do that. Then use first row as a header. So what happens, like sometimes you, let me delete this. So sometime what happens, let's say you connected to your data source, and in that case what happens, let's say it is a text file, maybe text file and all. So what will happen, your first column, that also, sorry, first row, which has the headers, that also comes into your data, right? So for those scenarios you can select first row as a header, or over here it says use headers as the first row. Let's see, our data has headers, But see what happens. I kind of ruined my data. So earlier I clicked like use first row as a header. So what it did, it converted this row into headers. And now as soon as I have tried to kind of replicate this, it is giving me the column 17, column 1, 2, 3 like that. So all these things are kind of waste now. I'll just remove all these steps and we'll go back to my original data. So that's, yes. But you got the use of it, right? Where to use it? Use first row as headers?
Yeah.
Correct. Okay, fine. Then let's move ahead. So we got replace values. This is simple Excel find and replace kind of thing, right? Find the value and replace with the value. There is no difference. So it will look into the entire data and replace those values. In advanced option also like same Excel options, match the entire cell or match the special character and all. Correct. So you can use it if required. Then you got transform. Oh, sorry, it's a transform name only. Combine. Okay, this is important. This you might need to use, irrespective of whether you are in ETL team or not. This you might need to use. So what happens? Let's say you want to kind of append the data. Now over here, append is like union, and merge is like join. You understand join and union?
Yeah.
What is union?
Union means the data will accumulate below, but not by the side by side. So
Correct,
it will
correct.
like a list of columns.
Mhm. Right. So let's say every month you get the sales data, right? Let's say March, you have the data from March, April, May. All 3 months you got the data in different three files or three different tables. So in order to do the analysis, what you can do is you can append that data in one file, like first of all March data, below that April data, and below that May data. Because the data is going to have the same structure, same fields. The only thing is like it is of different time periods, so you can merge it and then you can do the analysis. Correct? That is what we call union, like combining data vertically. Combining data vertically. Yes, combining data vertically, like on top of each other. You can put that data and get the complete data set for all 3 months. In case you are kind of joining data horizontally. Horizontally means, let's say there are two tables. In one table you have 5 columns and in other table you have 6 columns, and you want to combine those columns, then you will be using join, right? And the same thing happens here. Let's say if you want to kind of combine the data from two of same structure, then you can use, if you want to kind of join, you can do merge join or merge queries. If you want to append, like do the union, then you can use this. Let me just go to, say here, merge queries. So what will happen in merge query? See, it is showing you one data set, that is orders. You can select another data set. Let's say I'll select returns. Over here I have two columns. I'm using merge right now. So what will happen? Basis order ID and order ID here, I need to select this field in both the data set. It says selection matches 149 out of 2848 rows, right? And I have option that what kind of join I want to apply, whether it is left join, left outer, right outer, inner, or whichever join you want to apply. So maybe let's say if I select inner join, what it does, it gives you only the matching records. So if it has 149 records matching, as a result, it is going to give me only 149 records in the next step here, right? It is the join we are talking about. It is not union. So I'll say yes, and you'll see it has joined those records and it is giving you 149 rows. If you click here, because it has joined the other table, you'll see those individual records. See, just two fields coming from another data set. Any questions here?
No.
Okay. Now let me just remove this option and we'll go to combine using append. So in append, what happens? You got append queries, and over here, let's say two tables you want to join. So you need to kind of select those tables. Let's say I'll kind of add returns and people. Okay. See, right now, the first table is order, which is already selected. So it is giving the option to kind of select the next table. So two tables it can join. If you select this 3-1, it will allow you or give you the option that which one you want to join. So orders, returns, or maybe people. So it will kind of append these records into one. So what I'll do, okay, it won't allow me to kind of remove these orders. The reason being over here, I selected append queries. If you say append queries as new, it will allow to kind of use those tables whichever you want, and it will allow you to kind of remove this, because it will help you to add new result over here, right? It will add new result over here. I'm going to append these two tables. We'll say okay. So it will add another table here. Now if you see, total 804 records. In returns, you got 800 records, and in people, you got 4 records. So in append, what it has done, it has appended all those records into one table and giving you 804 records. See, the condition for union is generally like if you have the same field names, your union will work fine. If you don't have same names, you might need to kind of convert them with the same column, same header. In this scenario, what happened? My first table returned has returned an order ID. The people table had person and region. So that's why in append, what it has done, it has created 4 columns because those columns were not matching. And wherever there were values, it is showing the value. If the value was not there, it is showing you the nulls. If you go down, I believe you will get 4 records with the values in last 2 columns and nulls in first 2 columns. Yes. So you can see last 4 rows, you have values in person and region, and first 2 columns are null over here, right? So it is merge is join, append is union. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Any doubt?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Now, see the last options which you get here, like text analytics, vision, and Azure machine learning. Actually, I have a pro account and these options are not enabled here. If you, let's say, click on text analytics, it will give you that pop-up, right? That you are not signed in. If you even try to sign in, because in desktop, I'm already signed in into my profile. Right? It will give you option that that machine learning things are not enabled. Let me just try. Right. So if you see here, the text analytics functions available at this time, please make sure you have access to premium capacity, which I don't have. I have pro capacity only, right? So the premium capacity, actually you need to kind of pay around $5,000 per month for premium capacity. And then you get all machine learning or AI related features enabled.
Okay, then do we use this text analysis and everything in our real-time projects in companies like that?
See, this is only for the people who are working on machine learning related projects, not everyone, right?
I think not for BA or reporting projects,
No,
right?
no, 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 no. It's for machine
Yeah.
learning or AI related projects.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. See, even all three things which you get here. Sorry, let me just go back. Yeah, all three things, whether it is text analytics, vision, that is again a AI thing, invoke the vision cognitive services, and then Azure machine learning, that is ML models, which are already deployed into Azure machine learning libraries. So these things will be enabled only if you have a premium capacity, right? So I think we were planning to cover two tabs, but we could cover only one tab today. That is the home tab. As you go, right, I would request you to kind of go through transform and add a column also. Maybe you can skip add column. I will cover that with you. But transform one, over here you'll find most of the options which are already there in the home, right? For example, use first row as headers, group by, right? Count rows. So you can leave these things. I can cover. If you want, you can just take a look. Split column, and then changing the data type and all. So these fields, most of the things are over here, which we have already covered. But still, I mean, not tomorrow. Monday, we'll be kind of starting with transform tab, and we can go with further options. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I
Any
have
question?
one doubt alone. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So, like we'll have so much of data in real time where we get
Hmm,
it from ETL team. So
correct.
in that case, I think Power BI can't handle that much data, right?
See, Power BI,
So
are you
in
talking
that,
about the Power BI desktop or Power BI
yeah,
web
yeah,
service?
no, no, desktop. From there only we create reports and show it, right? But
Right.
so in case of like millions of data will be coming, so in that case how we'll handle with Power BI alone? So do they use in something else in real time and they just use reporting alone in Power BI, or do they model itself in Power BI?
See, modeling is always recommended in Power BI. The reason being, if you do the modeling in Power BI, Power BI converts that data into its native, components. Then the huge data, whatever data you connect, it will be faster. I can show you. See, in the Pro capacity, the plan which we have. Within this, you can create data sets in Power BI with of 1 GB of space. Understand, 1 GB is not less, right?
Okay.
1 GB is too much. So as you upgrade it into premium capacity, you would be able to create a data set of 50 GB also. So it can handle that volume. For Power BI desktop, if you say that it is slow and you are not able to handle, then the first thing what we need to look at it, the data joins and models. And second thing, the configuration of the system where you have installed the software. If you have a
Okay.
proper RAM, Power BI as a tool, it will be able to handle that data, because 1 GB is not less. It is too much,
Okay.
right? So system efficiency is also required, like how good your system is, and accordingly you can see or handle the data. But yes,
Okay.
see, in real scenarios, what happens, I mean, I can talk about my current project actually.
Mm.
In current projects, in my project, we don't connect to any data source here. I mean, we don't connect to SQL, Oracle, or Excel file. We connect to Power BI data flows,
Okay.
right? Data flows we kind of create on Power BI web service, and then only we connect here. So data will never come into your local system. It will always be there on servers. You are connecting to that data and doing the reporting.
Okay, same like analysis also. So we do everything in SSAS and connect it live to Power BI and just report it here like that.
Correct, correct, correct.
Okay. Okay.
Right. So by doing so, it will be kind of efficient, because whether it is 1 GB, 10 GB, whatever data you have that resides on
Hmm.
the server, you only do the
Mhm.
analysis here.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
All right then. Any other question?
Bye.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye bye.
Bye bye.